Healthy never tasted so good.
On March 24th, the East of the Rhine presents the Blues and R&B Lovers Show of the Year, starring the dynamic Chick Rogers, Vance Kelly, JoJo Murray, Shorty Mack, and Pat Smiley. Music by Club Steppin's very own DJ Sam Chapman, along with Slick, Jam, and Smitty. There'll be stepping and line dancing before the show. Advance ticket donations are $25 and $35 at the door. Tickets are on sale 24/7 at the East of the Rhine. Call 773-874-1500 or 773-250-3550. Doors open at 8 p.m. That's Saturday, March 24th at the East of the Rhine, 914 East 79th Street on the corner of 79th and Drexel, for the Blues and R&B Lovers Show of the Year. Again, doors open at 8 p.m. The Blues, R&B. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
Hi, this is King George. And doesn't your mouth sometimes water for the taste of some good hickory smoked barbecue like you used to get in the old days? Well, have I got news for you. I've got the place to go. In fact, I've got 3 places to go. It's Joe's Barbecue and Fish, and right now he's featuring his hard time special. You can get 5 wings for $4.99, 20 legs for $9.99. For $19.99, you can get Joe's Sports Bucket of Rib Tips, and all of those orders include fries at Joe's Barbecue and Fish. And you can find them at his 3 locations: 4900 West on Madison Street, Chicago, Illinois, 350 North Wolf Road in Hillside, Illinois, and 79 Clock Tower Plaza in Elgin, Illinois. And if you mention clubsteppin.com or print out the ad on the Club Steppin webpage, you can get 10% off of any order. So visit Joe's Barbecue and Fish. Once you try Joe's, you're hooked.
GlobalNewsForum.com. Engaging the community and informing the world. Your source for news 24 hours a day, every day. GlobalNewsForum.com. A Future Vision Entertainment station.
It's time now for the Bean Soup Times radio show with your host, Torre Muhammad. Heard every Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on GlobalNewsForum.com. And now, your host.
What's up, family? Peace. Greetings. Assalamu alaikum. Hotel. Praise the Lord. How you doing? I am so pleased and excited today, as always. Number one, let me say, because it is a beautiful day outside today. I mean, the sun is shining, and, you know, I saw some people that I know, they were just waiting for the day to put on their short shorts, because the short shorts out today. So we hope that this summer we will exercise caution and the way that we dress and the way that we think. We don't want to repeat some of the negative stuff, the violence and all that. Let's make this day a very peaceful day all the way out. So we got to put those positive vibes out there. This is Tori Muhammad. It is a little bit past 3 o'clock, and you're listening to the Bean Soup Radio Show, and we have shakers and movers here today. I tell you, every time, I promise, every time to bring to you incredible shakers and movers from the city of Chicago and beyond, and today it is no exception. We know we have an election coming up in just a few days, and the electoral process is so important for us. We must be involved in it. We must make sure that we exercise our right to vote. We must exercise it in our best interest. So without any further ado, because she is a shaker and mover here in the South Shore area, we are so pleased to be right here on 72nd and South Shore, right down the street. Alderman, I always say the country club because I'm old school. I know what it's called now. But I grew up right down the street on 79th Street, so I'm always happy to be here. 78th and Cole, as a matter of fact. So, but anyway, we have a shaker and a mover, and she is running for re-election for a committee ward position, but she is the alderman here as well, or councilwoman. You got to tell me what you prefer, but we know she is a shaker and a mover here. We have Leslie Hairston in the building today. How you doing?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing wonderful and so pleased to have you here. We have always admired and seen you shaking and moving in the city and taking care of your ward. So before we get into what you're running for at the committee, I want to make sure that our listeners know and understand what some of the differences are. You're not running for alderman. You already won that.
Correct. Well, and a lot of times people, get that confused.
Yes.
The alderman is a paid position, with city council. The committeeman position is a political position. Mm-hmm. It is unpaid, and it is representing your ward with the Democratic Party.
Oh, beautiful. So that's going above and beyond what you get paid for.
Right.
And it ensures that this your ward is represented in the Democratic Party.
Correct, and that we have a voice not just here at the local level, but also at the state level. You talk about the state conventions, and this is really a good year to talk about that, because what everybody's seeing with all the other conventions on the news, and you're seeing about the Electoral College and everything else, leading up to the election in November.
Right.
These are the things that really determine those. So while I am Democratic committeeman for the 5th Ward, I am also a delegate to the National Convention, as I was 4 years ago as well.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. That's wonderful. And so let's talk a little bit about what led up to that, because you have to have some good works behind you to get to that position and be able to represent the party. So, like I said, I've grown up in this area. I see the metro station. I see the improvements I'll call it the Cultural Center for now.
Thank you.
The South Shore Cultural Center. But just talk about some of the things that make up your ward and some of the things that you're proud of.
Well, I truly am proud of the diversity of my ward. And one of the things that I have had the privilege to do is to serve as alderman. And that brings me in contact with so many people from so many different walks of life. And, we could be planting gardens one week, and I can be down at, out, training with the fire department the next. What I love about my ward is the lakefront.
Yes.
I love the lakefront. I love Stony Island. There's nothing like, coming home and seeing everything and then just seeing Stony Island.
Right.
That is what I like. The Midway, the 63rd Street Beach House, or now that it's landmarked, it's the bathing pavilion.
Oh, okay.
So just like you talk about the South Shore Country Club,
right,
being now the South Shore Cultural Center.
Yes.
It has been really exciting to have been a part of all of that. Mm-hmm. And how about that new football field in Jackson Park?
Yes, absolutely beautiful. And so because you've brought some revitalization, I know there are new businesses throughout the ward. You're a long-time resident of this area too. So when
more
you
than
came
40
in the position,
years,
more than 40 years.
I was raised over here. As a matter of fact, when my family moved into the South Shore area, we were the minority on the block.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, that was. I can remember, a few.
A piece of change ago.
Right. Yeah, I remember just a few people, and you might see sometimes on South Shore Drive. But you were right on the cusp of it. Beautiful. So I know also this is something that I've noticed, and it was just did my heart well. Your triathlon. Talk about forming that and the importance of doing that. And make no mistake about it, I see you are in shape right now. We could go running right now.
We can go running right now. I'll take you any day. I haven't been in the water yet, and I'm supposed to have been in the water probably 2 months ago. I haven't made it yet. But it actually got started because I had started this job and I had to do something because you're eating bad things. Anything that comes out a window, you're grabbing.
Right.
So I started walking on the lakefront and I ran into a young lady that said, "Oh, I just finished my first triathlon," and she did not look like your typical athlete. She was tall. She had curves. And so I said, okay. I laughed. I thought that was funny. I said, but we exchanged information. Let me know when they're going to do it. I knew she was never going to call me again. Well, that didn't happen. She called me. I said the least I could do is go to a meeting, and that was 11 years ago.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That was 11 years ago, and this is the 6th year coming up for the South Shore Triathlon because I got tired of having to travel out of state or get up really, really early in the morning and go try to find some place to park on the north side and then have to run to the event. And I said, wait a minute, I've got the city's 3rd largest park. I'm going to start my own. and that's how the South Shore Tri got started.
Beautiful. That is so important. I love to see it, and I ran a Chicago Marathon in 2006.
My hat's off to you. I could not do a marathon.
Whew, it was fun. And I got hyped
I hand out water.
You hand out water?
I hand out water.
Look, that is so valuable to the people running. I got tricked into it. I ran the half marathon first. And I was so geeked up. I'm going to run the full one. It was fun. But the reason I'm highlighting is because it was so easy to be motivated when I ran up north. It was so easy to be motivated when I was in running groups, and unfortunately it wasn't a lot of us in it.
But guess what?
And so now that's changed.
We got running groups on the south side.
That's what's up.
I think we've got 2 half marathons now in addition to the triathlon.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the 13.1 that's here in June.
Right.
And then of course we have the one in September, and I think there's some new ones that I see coming up. We've got a Gary Comer Fun Run, and beautiful. So you can see anytime during the week or even the weekends the different running clubs that are meeting here.
Yes,
and so that is really a blessing to see people getting so involved. And what I like are to see the families involved.
Right, that's key. That's important.
And that's the thing about the triathlon, not just for the adults, but we have a kids portion. And so that's the TriMaster Kids Invitational.
Yes.
And what I've been able to do in different years, and last year we did it as a day camp and operated with the Park District outside of the 63rd Street Beach House. And so the kids had their camp there.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And prepared. And other times when the state was in better shape, we got funding and we did them as after school programs in the different schools. So, we have to, the economy is tough.
Right.
There is no question. But we are always looking for different ways to engage the youth and in non-traditional ways. We all know that there's the basketball and the football and everything, but let's try to expose our children to some other activities.
That's right.
And believe it or not, there are scholarships to college for triathlon.
For triathlon? Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, I need to tell my children about that. Get out there
bring
immediately. That's beautiful. And so we know the election is March 20th.
That's next Tuesday.
Yes. And what's your punch number?
My punch number is 102. I had to think about that.
Well, great. And if people want to get more information about your campaign, they can go to your website.
LeslieAHairston.com.
That's right.
And my last name is spelled HAIRSTON.com. Because sometimes I get the Harris, sometimes I get the Harrison. So it is LeslieAHairston.com. They can call my political office. That number is 773-324-0005.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I want to definitely just commend you on the work you've done since you have been in office since '99.
Thank you.
Because, like I said, I grew up in this area because I'm a member of the Nation of Islam, where our mosque is right in the ward, and you've always been someone responsive that people recognize and appreciate. So I'm definitely encouraging folks to support you, not only with the vote, but in any way possible as you support the community. It's a a nice cycle that has to happen, because I know our
I like
officials
that
need
word.
support.
I like that word cycle. I think I'm going to have to borrow that a few times.
Absolutely. So is there anything else you want to comment on? You're welcome to stay and hang out as long as you want, but I know you have a lot of work to do.
Well, there are a lot of things, but this is really an important election year. I want to talk to people. I want to talk to the young people about that.
Yes.
4 years ago, everybody was revved up. Things don't happen overnight. They didn't get.
That's right.
They didn't get to the state that they are overnight. They're not going to get undone overnight.
That's right.
But we've got to keep people motivated, and we have to realize what really is at stake. I mean, if you look at the state of the United States, if you look at the city of Chicago and everything, and particularly, when we're talking about where are we going to take our youth, where is our future, where are we going to have a job force, a workforce? We have to start looking at those, and we have to have people with ideas. And that can help implement that, and that are forward thinking,
right? Not
people that are looking back at the past. Because if they're looking back at the past, we're going to go backwards,
right? That's
right.
And
some of the people I see out there now are taking us that way, and that is the wrong direction to go. But the way that you implement change is not by sitting on your hands.
That's right.
They didn't do that during the civil rights era. That has never worked, and so. I was looking at some of the turnout numbers, and voter turnout in the city of Chicago is low, and it should not be. It should not be, with everything that we have at stake. We need to be voting in each and every election, no matter what.
That's right. That's right.
We gotta look at our history, and we gotta tell our children what the history is.
That's right.
Who died? What happened historically, so that we could have the right to vote. No one should sit on their hands.
That's right. That's right.
I don't care whether you like what's going on or not. Get out and have your voice counted.
I think you're so right. And, of course, sometimes people get excited about major elections, but what happens right in your own backyard is so important, because there's so many decisions made on a daily basis.
Ever heard the expression, all politics is local?
All politics is local. That's right. And, because you mentioned, I want to also kind of highlight, you sit on a lot of different boards, or what is it, committees in the council chambers, to make sure that resources and things are brought over here to this area, to the Fifth Ward. Right?
Absolutely, and it's about the city of Chicago as a whole. I mean, one of the things of having seniority on the council, and I don't know whether people know, because I was telling somebody the other day, I said I'm the third most senior woman on the city council.
Wow.
There are only two women that have been there longer than myself, and that is Alderman Carrie Austin of the 34th Ward, and Alderman Marge Lorino, that have been there longer than I. But a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that. But the advantage of seniority and the exposure is that, now I sit on the finance committee. Now I sit on the budget committee.
Right.
So I know when the dollars are coming in and when they're going out.
Right, beautiful. Yeah, that's important. That's absolutely important.
You got to follow the money.
That's right. Good. Well, we thank you. We thank you for being there, for following the money, and we can see the results in this wonderful area, the Fifth Ward, of what you've been doing. So thank you for coming on the Bean Soup Times radio show.
Thank you for having me.
And you're welcome anytime you want to come and talk about any upcoming events, any things that people need to be aware of. You're always welcome. We're right here in your backyard.
Well, I'm going to come in a couple of weeks and to talk about some of the events that we have in the park, around the area, in the community during the summer.
Okay, great.
All right,
thank you so much. We're going to pay a few bills, and we'll be right back with more of the Bean Soup Radio Show.
On Tuesday, March 20th, we're voting for Patrick Thompson for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. With record flooding throughout our neighborhoods for the past few years, we need a leader who will go to work for all our communities. Patrick Thompson is a leader with vision and experience to bring people, politics, and government together to help solve these problems. He wants to clean up the South Branch of the Chicago River because he knows that water is to this century what oil was to the last. And we need to protect our most valuable resource, Lake Michigan. So on Tuesday, March 20th, punch number 74 for Patrick Thompson for Commissioner of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District.
Hey, sweetie, I'm hungry. What did you cook?
Nothing. It's time for us to begin eating and leading a healthier lifestyle. Time to try Quince the Diner.
Quince the Diner? What's that?
Quince the Diner is located at 616 East 79th Street in Chicago. It is the newly remodeled, newly designed, and is waiting to serve you a heaping helping of healthy food that will warm your soul. Whether you're already on the path to a healthier eating lifestyle or transitioning into a better eating habit, Quince the Diner is the place to eat. They serve chicken, turkey, fish, soul food, vegetarian, and vegan food. They're like an old school diner with great food and service with a new flair. At Quince the Diner on 79th Street, you can dine in, carry out, or have yours delivered. They also have a catering service.
And look, every month they have great specials too. This month's special is buy any 2 items on the menu and get 1 free. The 2 items must be of equal or greater values to take advantage of this offer.
So buy 2 meals and get 1 free? What better way to try Quince the Diner?
Call them today at 773-874-3278. Again, that's 773-874-3278. And place your order today. Ask how you can get special discounts and other offers text right to your phone. You can also visit the website at www.ilovefoodgroup.com for the full menu.
So experience Quince the Diner on 79th Street in Chicago and see for yourself how eating healthy never tasted so good.
It's Bean Soup Times radio show with Torre Muhammad on globalnewsforum.com.
All right. We are back, brothers and sisters, and we thank you for tuning in to the Bean Soup Times, the Bean Soup radio show. Now, listen, if you want to make a comment, you can hit me up on Facebook. You can hit me up on Twitter. That's both of them are beansouptimes.com. Or Bean Soup Times, rather, facebook.com/Bean Soup Times, or go to twitter.com/Bean Soup Times, and you can reach me. We have our phone ready, and we are paying attention. And so we have another just interesting brother to talk to today. We are pleased to have him here. He is, doing what many people would have in their heart to do. They think about doing, but everyone doesn't take the next step, which is a courageous step to decide that they want to help and they want to serve more than just themselves and their immediate family, but to do public service and to reach out to help more. And he is running for a position that is very important, but oftentimes is not paid as much attention to as some of the other positions, and these are judges. He is running for judge of the 2nd Sub-Circuit, and he is endorsed by the Chicago Tribune. And we want to welcome Arthur Wesley Willis to the Bean Soup Show. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Man, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are deciding to run for this office.
Well, it's the hardest thing to be able to talk about yourself.
Yes.
And I found that I've got to do that a lot now. I've been a public defender over 17 years.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. 17 years.
17 years.
That's absolutely incredible. I know that, there's a wealth of experience coming from that office.
Oh, I've been doing felony cases for almost since 2000. So
yes, sir.
I've been at 26 and Cal for a long time. I've seen everything come through.
Wow.
Everything.
And so tell us a little bit about that experience and what now is leading you to make this decision, because now it looks like you'll be going from defending to helping to make some of those decisions.
Well, since I've been over there, I've seen kids come in,
mm-hmm.
and basically that's why I'm running. Let me tell you a little bit about me before I can get to that. My father, he was my favorite person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I do is trying to be like him. He raised 6 kids.
Yes, sir.
That man worked 2 full-time jobs to send all 6 of his children to school.
Wow.
He worked for the state of Illinois from 9 to 5, had dinner on the table. We ate at 5:30, and he was down working at the post office downtown, slinging bags from 6 to 2.
Wow.
And then he'd come back home, sleep for a couple hours, and go do it over and over again.
Yes, sir.
He raised all 6 of us and sent us all to school.
Man, that is very commendable.
He was a wonderful, wonderful man.
Yes, sir. Hard working, taking care of his family, man, paving the way. That's what we need to hear, because I know that shows me a little bit about your foundation, which is very impressive.
He started a church, Resurrection Lutheran Church on the South Side. He became chairman of the elder board, chairman of the board of social ministry, and he did everything in that church too, and he served everybody in that church. Somehow he did all of that, and it almost didn't happen. Because my father, when he was a young boy, he and some of his friends stole a car. And this was back in the day. What did the police do? They came and they called his mother. They didn't arrest him. They didn't make him go to jail. His mother came, took him home, beat his butt, and that was it.
Wow.
That was the end of the story. After that, he went and he joined the military. He served in World War II, went to college on the GI Bill, was able to graduate, get that degree, get those jobs, those 2 government jobs where he was able to support his family and be the role model, not just for me, but for people in my church and people in my neighborhood too.
Yes, sir.
And nowadays, that same kid who gets caught with a stolen car gets a felony probation. And that's a conviction that stops them from being able to get money for college, stops them from being able to get those good government jobs. They have to end up going and doing things. Sometimes they do the wrong things still, and they get lost to the community. So that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm running.
Man, that's very impressive, and that's so important, because that's the kind of understanding and compassion that you need when you're faced with young people who have made different decisions, and they could go in any direction. So that compassion in the judge's area is very important. So, man, that is really I'm impressed. I'm impressed to hear that and hear what your motivation is. Tell us about if there's anything, maybe 1 or 2 situations that really, in your 17 years made you say, okay, because of what I just saw here, this is why I need to be a judge.
I see kids coming in, and they've been locked up for a little while. Or even worse, the kids that haven't been locked up, but they want to come in and they say, just give me some paper so that I can go. Now, paper is probation. It's a felony conviction. And sometimes it's the hardest thing in the world to talk them out of it. And you don't have that power to talk them out of it when you're just their lawyer. The thing is, they're not seeing the future when they do that. They're taking that paper, getting that felony conviction, and then being tossed away by the street, by the world. If they could wait. And these are kids with no criminal history. These are kids with no felony background, no violent crimes. They're programs they could get into where they could walk away from it without a felony conviction. But they got to wait sometimes. Sometimes it's just a little bit. Sometimes it's a long time. But that short time waiting gets it so that they're not thrown away. They're not convicted felons. They can get in various programs. There are a number of programs that people just don't get into, either because they're rushing through or even worse, it's not offered to them by the attorneys or the judges. Or even worse, it's not even thought to be offered to them because of who they are. And that's what hurts me more than anything else.
Yes, sir. Wow.
That there's so many different types of programs. One of them, the one that I love, is called TASK. It's the Treatment Alternatives to Street Crimes. Now, it's got 2 components. One is a probation of last resort for people who can't get probation anymore otherwise, because it's a drug treatment probation, meaning they put you through drug treatment classes, they make sure you stay clean, and they help you organize your mind and your life. That's great for those people. But also, it's a treatment of first resort. The task probation for a kid with no felony background who doesn't have a violent crime, they complete that, and let's not forget, 90% of the people that come into Cook County Jail have drugs in their system. So
90%.
90%. They ran a test 2 years ago. 90% of them had drugs in their system.
Wow.
So almost every crime is drug related.
Right.
So, but if that kid gets that task probation,
now wait a minute. Let me make sure I understand that.
That's not a conviction.
Make sure when the test was done right after the whatever reason they were brought to the county?
They did a drug test when they came in the county.
When they came in.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They did a blind drug test so they could see how many people had drugs in their system. But those kids, back to those kids, without a felony conviction, if they get that task probation, one, it'll help them fight the drug addiction or the possibility of their drug addiction getting worse. But it turns into a not guilty when they complete everything. So they can walk away from this without any sort of conviction, without a stain on their background.
And were a lot of them first-time offenders?
The Cook County jail test?
Right.
That was everybody that came through.
Everybody came through, right. And that wasn't my question exactly. I want, just in terms of in general, going back to what you mentioned earlier about them coming in and saying, just give me some paper. Now, if they were a lot of those first-time situations, and if so, how are they coming in with that already in their mind as opposed to looking for other resources?
Well, because they think that the worst thing is they think that getting paper means they won.
Okay.
Because they're not in jail anymore.
Right.
Or they don't have to worry about the case. Or
so
they
that's
don't have
that's the first thing they're thinking about is what can I do to make sure I don't go to jail?
They're thinking the short term instead of the long term. And the saddest thing is to see people come through with the chief judges and ask for their records to be expunged. And these are people who had something 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and they've lived a good life. They've gotten a good job, but now their job is doing a background check.
Right.
And this old criminal case pops up.
Right.
And they're getting fired.
Right.
Because they couldn't see the future. You got to get the kids to see the future, and if they can't see it, you got to see it for them and help them.
And the reality is, for many, especially men, young, like your father, like, a lot of us, we may end up in a situation that was a momentary lapse. And when it happens with us, then 10, 20 years later, just what you said. But if you have someone that can look after you in the beginning, then you won't end up with something that will hurt you in the long term.
That's right.
We need that. We absolutely need that. Tell us a little bit about some of your background outside of the public defender, community, what neighborhood are you from and all of that?
Sure. I grew up in Washington Heights, 96 in Peoria. My family was there. We went to Resurrection Church, 93rd and Wentworth, right in Princeton Park. So I grew up going there. I was a little altar boy. I was a paper boy in the neighborhood growing up as well. Area junior citizen when I was in high school. Woo! Went to University of Illinois for undergraduate and law school. I went to University of Illinois on a scholarship. Never have paid tuition for any undergrad or law school. I always got scholarships, which was a blessing in itself. I went to University of Illinois for law school. I met my wife my second week at University of Illinois, freshman year. September 4th, 1987. Been together ever since.
Wow, that's beautiful.
We have 3 children now. Went to law school together, too.
Wow, go ahead.
So after law school, I started working.
So who wins debates in the house with two lawyers?
She always wins. There's no debate there.
Smart man.
Oh, yeah.
I see why you've been married so long.
So some of my community service, for over a decade, I worked for an organization called Minority Legal Educational Resources. And what that was an organization that was started in the 70s to increase the minority passage rate for the Illinois State Bar exam. And so what we did was we helped people learn how to take the bar exam. And it got to the point where I was helping people who had failed multiple times. I started working with the groups of people that had mental blocks to help them get through the bar. And that group was formed and created to increase the minority partnership, the minorities in the legal field. Did that for over a decade, was on their board of directors as well as being a tutor there. Now, I've been at my church, St. John in Country Club Hills. Come and visit us on 183rd in between Pulaski and Cicero. It's a wonderful church. Been there since my daughter started school. So I've been there about 8 years now. Been an elder there for about 7. I became an elder when I was younger than 36. So I've been doing that.
I was going to say, because you don't look like an elder per se.
Been an elder there for a long time. Delegate to our convention, our local convention, and our national convention a few years ago. So I've been giving my service to my church and to my community as well, because you have to serve both.
That's beautiful. I definitely appreciate hearing that and recognize that. And I mean, and just to be a Cook County defender for that amount of time, I know a lot of people. You know, I know it's not a highly paid position. Let me say it like that.
I like to joke.
So it's a work of love when you do that for that long.
It's one of the hard things. I like to say it's the only job in the world where you can be assigned to help somebody, and you introduce yourself to them. And because public defenders have such a bad reputation, or because they've been in jail for so long before they finally get to meet you,
right?
It's the only job where you can introduce yourself to somebody and get cursed out
at the same
for
time.
Introducing
right.
yourself. So generally, if you can make it past the 5th year, you sort of have it in you for your life. So.
Wow, beautiful. So, of course, you're running, and the election, as we said, is March 20th. And what is your punch number?
My punch number is 182. You mentioned that the Chicago Tribune endorsed me, and I appreciate that endorsement. And every bar association, there are 12 of them, have found me qualified and recommended. But the most important thing is there are 4 bar associations that say that I'm the only qualified or recommended person in this race. Those 4 bar associations are the Chicago Bar Association, Illinois State Bar Association, Chicago Council of Lawyers, and the one I'm most proud of, because every person in my race is black, the Black Women Lawyers Association.
Wow.
Has found me the only qualified or recommended candidate in that race.
Beautiful, man. Well, we definitely wish you a lot of success, and we appreciate you coming on the show. And you know, you have the background. You definitely have the background and the character that we need to be on that in that judge's position. So, I wish you a lot of success.
Thank you much.
All
Punch
right.
182.
182. That's it. And we'll be right back, brothers and sisters, with a little bit more of the Bean Soup Show after these messages.
On March 24th, the East of the Rhine presents the Blues and R&B Lovers Show of the Year, starring the dynamic Chick Rogers, Vance Kelly, JoJo Murray, Shorty Mack, and Pat Smiley. Music by Club Steppin's very own DJ Sam Chapman, along with Slick, Jam, and Smitty. There'll be stepping and line dancing before the show. Advance ticket donations are $25 and $35 at the door. Tickets are on sale 24/7 at the East of the Rhine. Call 773-874-1500 or 773-250-3550. Doors open at 8 p.m. That's Saturday, March 24th at the East of the Rhine, 914 East 79th Street on the corner of 79th and Drexel, for the Blues and R&B Lovers Show of the Year. Again, doors open at 8 p.m. The Blues, R&B. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
On Tuesday, March 20th, we're voting for Patrick Thompson for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. With record flooding throughout our neighborhoods for the past few years, we need a leader who will go to work for all our communities. Patrick Thompson is a leader with vision and experience to bring people, politics, and government together to help solve these problems. He wants to clean up the South Branch of the Chicago River because he knows that water is to this century what oil was to the last. And we need to protect our most valuable resource, Lake Michigan. So on Tuesday, March 20th, punch number 74 for Patrick Thompson for Commissioner of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District.
I'm Patrick Thompson, and I approve this ad.
It's Bean Soup Times Radio Show with Torre Muhammad on globalnewsforum.com.
Well, hello, everybody. Just being silly. This is Lisa connecting you to George with another Bean Soup Time Celebrity Philanthropy Update. I'm just going to jump right into this report as there is so much going on in the area of celebrity philanthropy. So much so that I'm smiling as I give this report. There's always a need for philanthropy everywhere. So that's why the big smile on my face, because all these celebrities out there are doing great things. First, I'd like to highlight the paid-forward aspect of philanthropy, such as with some of the following highlighted acts of the late, great Whitney Houston. May she continue to rest in peace. Cited by Guinness World Records as the most awarded female of all time, one of the world's best-selling music artists, over 170 million albums sold, singles, videos sold everywhere, 7 released studio albums, and 3 movie soundtrack albums, all of which have diamond, multiple platinum, or gold certification. Many artists such as Alicia Keys and Brandy have stated that Miss Houston influenced them to be all that they could be. Part of that being has been in philanthropy. As you know, both of these ladies are give backers, and I talked about Alicia Keys a few weeks ago. Whitney first showed her socially conscious side when, before fame as a model, she refused to work for agencies that did business with South Africa due to the country's regime of apartheid. It was an issue that she later brought to the attention of the world when she performed at Nelson Mandela's 70th birthday concert in London, an event that brought pressure on the government to ease its restrictions and eventually released the future president of South Africa. So what, right? Well, historically, musicians have played major roles in social causes, and the late Miss Houston was no different. Proceeds from several related concerts were donated to South African children's charities, including 2 children's museums and several orphanages. In 1989, Houston founded the Whitney Houston Foundation for Children, which helped kids with cancer and AIDS. During her time on the music scene, she was also involved with many other causes, including the United Negro College Fund, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and the Children's Diabetes Foundation. In 1991, she donated her royalties from her chart-busting rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner to the Red Cross. Moving forward a few years, in 2011, she launched a new line of candles wherein a portion of the proceeds went to a teen mentoring program. One may once again say, so what, to any of the aforementioned, but I trust that you wonderful listeners are not saying that, as all of the causes mentioned have affected millions worldwide. Millions? Yes, because of the paid-forward effect. I firmly believe it works. March. Yes, in the month of March, we are talking water, water, water. Actually, safe water, because globally there is a crisis. Over 2 billion are affected by the lack of access to safe water, and this is affecting the health of communities worldwide. And for you listeners in the U.S., that includes our communities also. So high fives to Lenny Kravitz for his support to UNICEF's TAP project. This talented superstar is rallying fans to pay $1, just $1, for a glass of tap water at participating restaurants. $1 through this project will provide 40 kids with clean water for a day, or one child for 40 days. Do you see how far your dollar can go? Mr. Kravitz's support will bring safe water to many, and that is definitely something to smile about. On that note, my company recently submitted a video to Water.org's annual film festival highlighting this global issue. So go check it out on YouTube. Type in Water Crisis Connecting You To. Water Crisis Connecting You To. Then do one better. See what you can do to help. Be a superstar philanthropist. Well, I can go on and on talking about celebrity philanthropy, but we'll save some for next time. This is Lisa connecting you to George, happily reporting for Bean Soup Times.
GlobalNewsForum.com. Engaging the community and informing the world. Your source for news 24 hours a day, every day. GlobalNewsForum.com. A Future Vision Entertainment station.
On Tuesday, March 20th, we're voting for Patrick Thompson for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. With record flooding throughout our neighborhoods for the past few years, we need a leader who will go to work for all our communities. Patrick Thompson is a leader with vision and experience to bring people, politics, and government together to help solve these problems. He wants to clean up the South Branch of the Chicago River because he knows that water is to this century what oil was to the last. And we need to protect our most valuable resource, Lake Michigan. So on Tuesday, March 20th, punch number 74 for Patrick Thompson for Commissioner of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District.
I'm Patrick Thompson, and I approve this ad.
On March 24th, the East of the Rhine presents the Blues and R&B Lovers Show of the Year, starring the dynamic Chick Rogers, Vance Kelly, JoJo Murray, Shorty Mack, and Pat Smiley. Music by Club Steppin's very own DJ Sam Chapman, along with Slick, Jam, and Smitty. There'll be stepping and line dancing before the show. Advance ticket donations are $25 and $35 at the door. Tickets are on sale 24/7 at the East of the Rhine. Call 773-874-1500 or 773-250-3550. Doors open at 8 p.m. That's Saturday, March 24th at the East of the Rhine, 914 East 79th Street on the corner of 79th and Drexel for the Blues and R&B Lovers Show of the Year. Again, doors open at 8 p.m. The Blues, R&B. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
All right.
It's Bean Soup Times Radio Show with Torre Muhammad on GlobalNewsForum.com.
All right. We are back, brothers and sisters. Thank you for tuning in to the Bean Soup Show. Again, I'm your host, Torre Muhammad, and it is a beautiful day today. We are very thankful. You know, I alluded to it or mentioned it was mentioned on a show previously, well, on a Chris Bay show. But today is my birth anniversary, the day that I was born some few years ago, and I really want to thank my wonderful, fabulous mother for all she did to get me into this world, and working very hard every day to justify my existence in this world. Definitely appreciate my mother. I think we all should give love and appreciation and thanks to our mother on our Mother's Day, because they did a lot of the work. The mothers did a lot of the work to get us here. And so we thank you. We thank you, Mama. I thank you, Mama. And so today is that day, March 14th, and we are a year older and thankful. And as we keep on the show, of course, we're going to have another wonderful person for you to hear from, who's running for office, and she is a Lindblom alumni. But before we get into her, I want to make sure that everyone knows to go to beansouptimes.com. We have been putting out a lot of just positive news and information for our community. That really is our intention, that's our purpose, to really promote and share positive news and information that will help uplift, that will help inspire, that will help inform. And so we try to do it oftentimes with humor. We try to do it with just giving you the facts, but make sure you go there. Get on our email list if you're not on there already, or sign up for the RSS feeds, whatever. But just stay in tune, because we're going to be sending out a lot of good information that will help us in many areas of our existence. But listen, let me get on with this wonderful young lady who we want to talk to, who's running for a state representative position. Soup Radio Show, and as promised, we told you we were going to talk about politics, today. Of course, the election is next week, so we want to bring to you a few people that we've had the pleasure of meeting and that we think are, people that you need to hear from before you make your decision in the voting booth. And so here's a young lady that I've had the pleasure of meeting. We kind of crossed paths because we both went to the same high school. For all the Lindblom Eagles out there, swoop, swoop, swoop. Or some people said boom, 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 or whatever. Depending upon when you were there. But she is someone who has been a part of various communities from the south side of Chicago, now in the south suburbs. And she is running for state senate, actually for the seat that, and she can correct me if I'm not exactly right, but the seat that is going to be vacant basically because Reverend Meeks is not running for re-election. So we are definitely pleased to have Pat Mahon here on the Bean Soup Radio Show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Tori. How are you?
Oh, we are doing great. We are glad to be on the top side of the earth and happy to be talking to you today.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. There are in Chicago lots of close-knit communities, lots of organizations and folks out there who love to support each other. And Lindblom alumni is no different. So when I heard that you were a Lindblom graduate, I got excited. And, I don't want to say anything negative about any other school, but there's a lot of competent people that come out of Lindblom. And so we're pleased to hear that you're running for office.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that as well. But you're right, Lindblom, we're not going to say anything bad about any of the other schools, but Lindblom is top-notch, that's for sure.
That's right. We love them all. We love everybody and appreciate everybody, but we just recognize where we come from.
Exactly.
Yeah, so tell us about your campaign, why you're running, where you're running, and why should people vote for you?
Okay, well, again, my name is Pat Mahon, just as you said, and I am proud to be the Democratic candidate for State Senate for the 15th District. And I'll tell you a little bit about my background, just what I've been doing and where I am now, and the reason why I believe that I'm qualified to take on this position. But my husband and I, who's also a Lindblom graduate, his name is Patrick Winston. We graduated in 1982. And so we moved out to the village of South Holland for about 21 years ago, and we've been out here ever since. And I'm fortunate enough to have been involved with the village and out here in the south suburbs in this region for the past 21 years. And now I work for the village of South Holland as their deputy administrator, and I've been doing that for the last 10 years. And so I bring some unique experience and qualifications to the table. I also, Tori, went on to graduate from law school, so I'm a lawyer. And I practiced law for a little while in the private sector before, starting my career in government. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that makes me so different than my opponents, and that is that I am a lawyer and I practiced law for a while, and that I have this, real government experience here in the south suburbs in this region, and that I've been out here, like I said, for the last 21 years working out here in this region to, make sure that, employees have been protected during these tough economic times, and families have access to housing, and local businesses have resources to hire workers. And, even some of our transportation issues, I've been working on those to make sure that good people can get to good paying jobs. So I've been, I've just been busy. I'm working. I think I can hit the ground running when I get to Springfield. I have some good experience, like I said, and practical experience. For example, in South Holland, we balanced our budget every single year, even, during these tough economic times. And Tori, we've never laid off one single employee ever.
What?
Never. Nope, never.
That is very commendable.
Thank you. And I've negotiated all of our union contracts. I've negotiated, sustainable contracts. We've never had to reopen, never had to ask for any furlough days or, cutting their pay or anything like that. So I just believe that I have the qualifications and the background to do the job. Now, I know it's not as glamorous as putting on an NFL uniform or being the wife of a well-known politician, but it's who I am, and it's how I've been a part of this community and how I've been a part of this region. And so I never left once we came here. We love it out here, and I want to continue to do good things for the region, the South Suburbs, and the 15th District.
Wow, that's very impressive, and I definitely understand the importance and the value of the government experience that you bring to the table, and to be able to take that to Springfield, where of course, where laws are made for the state of Illinois, you come with an experience of how to get things done. And that's something that I have noticed in the past, that if you don't have a balance of both, then some people want to push for laws and legislation that not necessarily may work on the ground, and which you having both that experience and of course DePaul University law, and you bring a lot to the table that is very admirable. And so you were even volunteering in South Holland before you came on as an administrator on staff.
Yeah, as soon as we moved into the village, I started volunteering right away because I wanted to be, part of my community. I wanted to know firsthand what was going on instead of, relying on somebody else to tell me what was going on. So I wanted to just do my part and be involved as much as possible. But to your point too, Tori, which is a really good point about, being a lawmaker in Springfield and knowing the direct effects of the laws, on the people on the ground, that is so important because, and I think that's also why I have the endorsements of, most of the mayors out here, because I know the direct effects of these laws. And there have been many of times where I've been on the phone with legislators and saying, please don't do that. Here's what's going to happen if you do this, or please do this because this is what we need done. You know what I mean? Because we just, being in it, working in it every day, all day, I know the direct effects of these laws, whether they're going to work, have a significant impact, negative or positive, and that's just so important to, have that experience and that knowledge when you're sitting there deciding on whether or not to vote for a law.
Right, that is right. That is so right. And, I know you were being a little modest there. You have at least 9 South Suburban mayors that have endorsed you, right?
Yeah, I just got another one as well.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
And, I have had the privilege working on some campaigns to be in those editorial board meetings and those political forums within the talking with the newspaper, editorial staff, as they are trying to figure out who they may endorse. And so I was very impressed when the Sun-Times mentioned that you have expertise and you were able to answer questions easy. And what really made you stand out is that you were more willing to take a firm stand. And that's what we need. So I definitely commend you on that.
Well, thank you so much. And I think you're right. We do need that. This, everybody knows the state of the state and, just of our nation and the economy. And so, I don't know how to stress enough that this just can't be about popularity. It has to be about, qualifications and experience. And so it's just too serious. I mean, we're at a, crossroads in our lives, and it's kind of scary. So we need, to do what we need to do to make sure that, our kids and our grandkids have a better life. And the way we're going right now, we need some real leadership in Springfield.
Right. Well, wonderful. So, and what is your punch number? And
my punch number is 5151.
51. Beautiful. And tell us a little bit also about the landscape. I know there's some, of course, South Holland. You have some of Hazelcrest. What Homewood? Tell us about what your district covers that you're running for.
Yeah, it's a pretty large district, and there's been some changes because of the remapping after the 2010 census. But it goes actually from the city of Chicago, the southern end of the 9th Ward, all the way down to Crete Moniz. So now we have some of Will County in this district. So it includes communities like Riverdale, Dalton, Harvey, South Holland, parts of Homewood, parts of Oak Forest, Midlothian, Stager, Sauk Village, Crete, Moniz. So it includes quite a Posen, quite a few communities. I think it's about 150,000 people.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm personally, you know, I live in the city, so I'm not actually going to be able to vote for you. But if I could, I really believe that I would, because above and beyond, you know, that we share the same high school, you definitely show a lot of the leadership and the administrative and the intelligence that is needed to you know, represent that district. So I wish you a lot of success.
Well, thank you so much, Tori, and I appreciate your support. I really do. And I definitely appreciate the opportunity to talk to your listeners and for your listeners to hear me. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. We look forward to hearing about your plans and progress when you make it into office.
On Tuesday, March 20th, we're voting for Patrick Thompson for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. With record flooding throughout our neighborhoods for the past few years, we need a leader who will go to work for all our communities. Patrick Thompson is a leader with vision and experience to bring people, politics, and government together to help solve these problems. He wants to clean up the south branch of the Chicago River because he knows that water is to this century what oil was to the last. And we need to protect our most valuable resource, Lake Michigan. So on Tuesday, March 20th, punch number 74 for Patrick Thompson for Commissioner of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District.
I'm Patrick Thompson, and I approve this ad.
GlobalNewsForum.com. Engaging the community and informing the world. Your source for news 24 hours a day, every day. GlobalNewsForum.com. A Future Vision entertainment station.